Hello, and welcome to a KinChunk, which is what we're calling these short little inputs for your specific joints. Today we're going to work on hip external rotation, sitting in your favorite chair. So you could do this literally on a 20-minute break in between meetings at your desk. You will want, we're going to use a towel, but like a sweatshirt or anything you can kind of fold up and kind of shush underneath you to take up some space once we get into the figure 4 position will serve you well. And otherwise, just a nice, sturdy, firm chair type surface where you can get your feet on the ground when you're sitting fairly upright. Cool? All right, so we're gonna start with one of our favorite spinal variations, which is the seated cat-cow. I'll have Will turn to the side here. So you wanna just sit kind of at the edge of your chair so you can have your feet firmly planted on the ground. Hands can rest on your knees. We're gonna start all the way down at the tailbone. You're gonna tuck your tail under. Feel like you're kind of rolling your belt buckle away from your legs to really scoop and round that lowest part of your back. And then keep rounding and just work your way up through your spine as best you can, segment by segment. There's gonna be chunks that go all together until finally your chin is nodded towards your chest. Take a breath. And then starting all the way down at your tailbone, try to poke your tailbone out behind you. Feel like you're reaching your belt buckle forward, reaching your belly button forward, finding a little arch through your spine. Again, working your way up segment by segment, until your chest is lifted. You can let your neck be part of this as well and lift your chin, but just really be mindful that you're not collapsing the back of your neck and tossing your head behind you. Let's keep working with that for time. Starting at the tail, tucking under. As you round, can you feel any sensations of contraction or muscle engagement along the front of your body? And can you feel any stretching sensations along the back of your body? As you start to arch, it's the opposite. Can you feel sensations of contraction moving up the back of your spine as you go up bit by bit? And can you feel any sensations of stretch along the front of your torso? Great, we've got about 15 seconds left, moving at the speed of your awareness. The real goal here is to invite a little bit of controlled and conscious movement at each segment of your spine so that each vertebra is able to move in relation to its neighbor. Good. 3, 2, 1, wherever you are, let that go. Okay, from here, I'm gonna have Will turn back around to the front. You're gonna stay seated at the front of your chair. We're just gonna start to introduce a little bit of hip rotation, active hip rotation. So you can pinch your left heel close to the chair to kind of get that shin out of the way. You're gonna, you can stick both hands in between your knees and give them a gentle squeeze. And then lift your right foot just slightly to hover off the ground, making sure you've got a good brace through your midsection and you're not suddenly coming into an arch of your back. And then you're gonna try to rotate your thigh bone one way as far as you can, which will swing your ankle across, and then rotate your thigh bone the other way. You're gonna just keep going back and forth like that. As you twist, start feeling for where do I stop moving even though I'm asking for more twist. We call that your stopping point or coming to a dead stop. And that really should be the result of trying to twist more. Your muscle tissues and your joints simply aren't obliging you with any more motion. As you get familiar with those spaces and as you return to this class, really useful to sense, what do I feel? What sensations are available at those stopping points? Is it tightness? Is it weakness? Is it nothing? There's no wrong answers, but there's lots of useful information. Wherever you are, let that go. Set that foot down. And then you can pull your right heel in just tucked under the chair or up against the edge of the couch if you're on the couch. Squeeze the hands in between the thighs. Hover that left foot off the ground and start to rotate as much as you can in one direction and as much as you can in the opposite direction. Good, you're on the clock. Just keep twisting back and forth. Another thing you might find here as you're trying to find that edge of your twist is that your hip will try to hike to fake a little bit more motion. So just make sure you're feeling both butts stay planted to the chair. And if you can, kind of feel into both butt bones or sits bones, if you will, staying firmly on that chair surface. Breathing in there somewhere. Good, you got this. Last 5, finding those stopping points, having a little fight for more moment. 3, 2, and 1. Set that down. Beautiful. Okay, right leg is gonna play first. So you're gonna bend your right knee and kind of tuck your foot under your left leg. So there's lots of wiggle room in how you set this up. We're gonna film a secondary video giving you a longer explanation of how to zhuzh it for yourself. But basically we're taking this hip into external rotation. We wanna make sure that the left butt is planted on the ground so that your spine feels like it's relatively upright, yes? And your other foot hopefully can be on the floor. So now there's this space, right, underneath the thigh and the chair or the surface. So that's where we wanna ball up that towel, that hoodie, whatever you've got, stick it under there so that you feel like you've got some support and your leg isn't like hanging around. All right, so from here, we're gonna start to locate a little bit of a stretch. And we're looking for a stretch in that right leg, deep in the cheek, but you might feel a stretch anywhere in the kind of general side hip to under thigh area. So ways that we can bow that stretch. 1, the spine or the pelvis. We can poke the tailbone back behind us, just like we did in our seated cat-cow, which will feel like, again, reaching your belt buckle forward, lifting and kind of fluffing your tail feathers if you had them up towards the ceiling. You can also hinge forward a little bit with your torso, if that's available to you. You can also play with a little twist. So if you want to turn your belt buckle towards that right knee a little bit, and you might, again, as you return to this class, the short chunk, pick different angles, work different lines of tension. It's really useful to fill in all those spaces. So we're on the clock here. We're gonna hold our stretch. I'm gonna switch sides so I can keep us on time and track. And as you're in this stretch, we're gonna do our full 2 minutes. So we want to really try to calm the nervous system by taking a full breath in, full breath out. If you can, try for a slow inhale and a slower exhale. If you know you're a person for whom a long passive stretch is not helpful, we invite you to start small PALS efforts, 5 to 10 second increments at a low intensity, 20% or less, which would just be pushing your knee into your hands, pushing your ankle a little bit into the surface. Again, if you're like, what now? Probably not you. Don't worry about it. Just enjoy that stretch. Breathing and thinking nice thoughts. Why 2 minutes? Everyone always wants to know. Well, there have been many studies where they've looked at cellular tissue and it's around or sometimes after the 2 minute mark where the cells start to go, oh, something's happening. You want me to go this way? Okay, I can go this way. Before that, they're sort of like chilling. They're not paying attention. They just don't care. They're doing their own thing. So if we want more range of motion, we do need to be hanging out in our passive stretches for the full 2 minutes. And that's something that you might need to build up to. So if it feels like totally unsustainable to do or you're getting tingles, you might need to build up your stretch tolerance. All right, one more final deep breath in. And then we're gonna start to slowly build up our PALS contraction. So we're gonna try to contract all of that tissue that you feel stretching. So just take a moment to really like mentally or visually or sensorily, kind of both, map, what do I feel stretching right now? As we go to engage it, that's where you want to feel increased sensation. If you lose that stuff or you start feeling something else, we've already lost it. So go slow. Our PALS contraction, we're going to think of making this right ankle a bit heavier into the chair, almost like you're trying to move it away from your thigh, but nothing moves. You can also think of pressing your knee down into your hands. You can see Will's got a nice like interlaced fingers situation here. And then we want to also think that we're trying to rotate that thigh bone. So remember back to those capsule CARs and start all of this very gently. So you're trying to rotate, ankle would go down through the chair and sweep out to the outside. Knee would press straight away from the torso, spine doesn't move. As you start to feel a clear contraction in that stretching stuff, slowly ramping up, find your way up to 50% effort. So 5 out of 10, half of what you could do. Still gonna feel like some strength work, but not like, super intense. Cool. As you find that 50%, if that's feeling good, We're gonna now bump it up to 60% for just a nice 10-second hold. Ready? Go for it. You could totally camp out at 50. In fact, you could camp out at 48, totally up to you. Keep holding and breathing for 3, 2, 1. Slowly let that melt away, but stay in position. Good. If you feel kind of a and like a settle, give into that, settle into that. And now we're going to try to find the opposite stuff. So brace your belly. Start to try to find the opposite rotation. So this will feel like your ankle is trying to push up into your left thigh. Might feel like your knee is trying to push down into your hands, and you're going to hold that steady. And you're thinking of cranking the thigh bone in the opposite direction, feeling some contraction in the kind of inner thigh groin area tissue. See if you can ramp that up slowly towards 50%. It might not go as high. This stuff is a little harder to access generally if you're newer to this. Find as close as you can to 50% and hold that effort. Keep thinking twist, twist, twist. Ankle pushing up against thigh for 5, 4, good job. You got it. 3, 2, stay in position. Just slowly melt those tissues away. Now, if you can, stay in position. If you need to wiggle or get your foot out from under your leg for a second, please do that. You can even pause the video and then come on back. We're going to do one more slightly shorter, slightly spicier set, if that's feeling good. So as we cue you to higher levels of contraction, you can always keep it a little lower. Stay with where you feel the right stuff. All right, round 2. Deep breath in. Pack that air down, start finding your pales contraction. Ankles getting heavier into the chair, knees trying to come up into your hands, but you're holding it down and you're trying to crank that thigh bone such that your inner thigh seam would rotate towards the floor, ramping up to 50%. If that's feeling good, start ramping up to 70%, 7 out of 10. If that's feeling good, take it all the way up to your greatest safest effort for 10 seconds. Go for it. Try to get your whole body involved. Can your armpits squeeze? Can your abs brace? Everything you can find for 5, 4, 3, 2, stay on tension. 1, just reverse that rotation. Now you're trying to make your ankle push up into your left thigh. Your knee is trying to push down towards the floor. Your hands can sneak underneath and hold. You're trying to crank that thigh bone in the opposite direction. Find the strongest effort that you can feel. Maintain it for 10 seconds. Breathing around a really strong brace in your midsection. 3, 2, 1. Stay in position and slowly melt that away. Zowie.
That's right.
My favorite nonsense word that somehow happened once I started teaching, Kinstretch. Really, only Kinstretch also. Okay, gang. Unwind yourself from that situation, knowing that it will feel potentially a little nar-nar, but also maybe like spacious. Like, do your butts feel different right now?
Very different.
Yeah.
And in a weird way, this one feels larger. But it's just because it feels more spacious. It's not actually larger.
Yeah, yeah. But we are working on making more space in your hip capsule with these exercises. So, other side. You're going to tuck your left ankle under your right thigh at some angle that's comfortable for you, and then anchor onto your right side. So make sure your right butt is firm on the ground. If you can, you're going to have your right foot on the floor, at least your toes on the floor, and then ball up that hoodie or towel or what have you and wedge it underneath your left thigh so that that feels supported and you don't feel like you're having to hold your thigh up with your own musculature. That's the main thing. So if you need it to be a little closer, shove it in there.
Just one tiny note, like sometimes discomfort can happen if maybe you feel like you could get your knee down, but it can feel a little grimy and painful here.
Yeah.
So that's part of it. It's like, I just know that I need something here now because I've dealt with this a lot, but go ahead and try that block, and it sometimes can be like, oh, I can finally relax.
Yeah, you want to feel held so that your tissues can actually relax into that passive stretch phase, which is what we're going into now. So start hunting for that stretch. Again, we're thinking about tilting the belt buckle down towards the floor, lifting the tail feathers, possibly rotating the belt buckle towards that left knee. Possibly, these are all options. It's about you finding that Goldilocks position where you feel the best stretch in your outer hip and deep hip rotator stuffs. And then just breathing. In through the nose, out through the mouth. It can help sometimes to think about sending your inhale into the tissues that you feel stretching, almost as though you could fill that compartment of muscle tissue with air. And then as you exhale, just letting the air leave the muscle and take the tension with it. Totally and 100% an imaginative exercise. But turns out the way that we conceptualize things really affects the way that we physiologically experience the world. Couple more deep breaths here. We've got 20 seconds left. This is a good time also to just kind of scan through your whole body and take an inventory. Are there any muscles or any places where I'm holding tension that I don't need to be holding tension? And could I just invite that to let go? Good. All right. So take a deep breath in, pack some air down into your belly, stiffen the muscles surrounding your trunk canister, and we'll start our PALS effort. So we're going to start by making that left ankle a little heavier into the seat. You're going to feel your knee try to pop up, so you can put some pressure downwards with your hand, and you're thinking about cranking the thigh bone down into the seat such that your shin would swing out into the side if it were free to move. And then you're going to slowly and incrementally volume dial that up to find your 50% effort. Good. If you're feeling good at 50%, crank it up to 60% for me here, and we'll hold for 10 seconds. Go for it. Good. A little bonus background music. Keep holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, stay in position and just slowly melt that away. As it melts, just notice what's happening. Are things kind of letting go a little more? Sometimes you'll get a quite dramatic change where you're like, oh, I can get way deeper into this stretch. If that volunteers itself, go for it. But don't crank and yank and like make it happen. Just if it's there, take up that slack. And then again, if you've gotten that kind of experience, it's really beneficial to stay right where you are and do your next set right there. If you need to wiggle, of course, take that pause to wiggle. We're going to go into round 2. Deep breath in, pack that air down, create a good canister of the midsection. Start finding your PALS effort, very light at first, ankle heavy into the seat, knee trying to push up into your hands, but you're holding it down, trying to crank that thigh bone. Ramping up to 50%. Slowly but surely, take your time. And then ramping up, if that's feeling good, to 70%. Getting your whole body involved. And then give me your greatest, safest, as close to 100% as you feel safe to go effort for 10 seconds. Ready? Crank it up and go for it. Good. Breathing around that brace, fueling your work with breath. 5, 4, 3, 2, stay in position. 1, reverse that rotation. Hands come just underneath the knee now so the knee can push down. The ankle is trying to push up into the right thigh as hard as you can. Trying to scoop some rotation that would spin your inseam towards the out of your body. Ramp that up to the strongest effort that you can find today. Will be different on all days, and hold. 10 seconds. We got this. You can do anything for 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, stay in position. 1, slowly relax it away. Once you feel yourself melt all the way back down to 0 effort, and that will take different times for different humans, unwind yourself from that position, and we're going to come back for one last set of our Hip Capsule CARs. So again, you're going to scooch forward and sit right at the edge of your seat. You can place both fists in between your knees, pinch your left heel into the seat or under the seat, hover the right foot, and rotate. Good. Back and forth. Whichever direction you picked first is totally fine. You don't have to match what Will's doing here. Both butts are on the seat. And this is your chance both to save and upload the work that you did. So this movement right here is going to really communicate to your nervous system that we made some change in your hip. And this is also a chance for you to notice what new sensory information is available. Does this rotation feel smoother? Do I feel like I have more range than the first time I did it today? Do I feel different muscles participating than I used to feel? All of these things are possible. You might feel none of them. It's just whatever information you get is good information. 3, 2, 1, set her down. Excellent. And wiggle. Wiggling is my favorite part of Kinstretch. Okay, pinch your right heel in, fists in between, hover that left foot, and rotate the thigh bone as far as you can in one direction and as far as you can in the opposite direction. Nice. Noticing what's different and really finding those stopping points. Where does my rotation stop even though I'm actively asking for more? Breathing in there somewhere. Very nice. We're almost there. What new sensory information is available? 3, 2, 1, and set that foot down. All right, gang, have fun coming back to this, trying on different lines of tension, and we'll see you next time.